3 hours, a little bit close to 3.5 hours of very strong and emotive discussion today about the devaluation of the Naira, one of the top conversations over the last few months. To be or not to be, experts today have been talking about this. It was a colloquium, took place in Lagos, and right there now at the venue as the event is wrapping up, we've got Temple Ashaju, who is a producer, Channels Television Business News, to talk to us via the phone, give us a sense of what he's been listening to over the last 3.5 hours for or against, or for and against, whichever one. Temple, talk to us, bring us up to speed. Who is on the left side and who is on the right side?
Both and everybody appears to be on the same page. The event brought together a lot of policy makers and a couple of operators. The operator drawn from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and of course the labor market, talking about Mr. Issa Aremu. But for the policy makers, we had a representative, the Director of Banking Monetary Policies from the CBN, Mr. Moses Tule, and of course the Governor of Edo State. And I'll give a tip of the iceberg on what the Governor of Edo State, Governor Oshiomhole, talked about. His opinion is that there is no gain devaluing the Naira. He emphasized that that we have no benefits, because right now the only benefit that we can get from the Naira in the sustainability of the current monetary policies that we have from the CBN. He actually stated clearly that what he has observed on this policy as per impact is that it has reduced importation into the country, and it is beginning to tweak our export rates upward a little more. So he sees Nigeria sustaining this policy without devaluing. He even recommended that we must add to the current list of prohibited items, CBN. And two of what he strictly recommended include schooling up and medical tourism that a lot of Nigerians are more involved in.
Temple, the gentleman Issa Aremu from the Labour Congress says if the president or the central bank, to be more specific, who's in charge of currency now, devalue the Naira, then the labor unions will go back to the drawing board and ask the president to increase wages. Absolutely,
Bosun. He's even saying that it is because they've done their own calculation and analysis on what the current exchange rate is. He says as of 2000, as of the previous analysis they had that warranted the 18,000 Naira minimum wage, they realized that there's been a difference now. But what he's trying to say at the moment is that if they have, as it is right now, the minimum wage should be reading 48,000 Naira. But by the time they devalue any further, it's going to increase that rate. And what all his long and short of what Mr. Aremu has brought up is that, look, we in the labor market that you hardly talk about, we are not interested in any form of devaluation. Sustain what we have right now and let us produce more while we stop doing all of this container markets and sustaining container economy, so to say.
I want to believe that President Muhammadu Buhari watched this colloquium despite his busy schedules. So let's assume that the president watched this colloquium. Do you think his decision not to devalue the Naira has been strengthened, or do you think he's scratching his head and say, hey, perhaps, maybe I should just devalue? What do you think?
I think if the president watched this colloquium live on Channels TV, he must be sustaining his policy on the foreign exchange the more. He will be strengthening it further. Why? Because this colloquium has confirmed that the rate of importation into Nigeria at the moment has declined to about 30 to 40%. This also brought about confirmation that the rate of chicken and rice, bags of rice being imported from China and in a republic to Nigeria has also reduced drastically. Now, of course, if the president if the president sees all this and he watch the film, it is believed that he will remain bullish on his current monetary policy. And I asked the governor, Oshiomhole, as well as the Mr. Moses Tule from the Central Bank of Nigeria, as to how we can start harmonizing the fiscal and monetary policies together right now. He agreed that, yes, there are some lapses and we need to improve on this. So both policy executives are on the same page with what we have at the moment, and I strongly believe that the president will sustain his the current monetary policies when it comes to devaluing or not.
Thank you very much, Tempo Ashaju, a Channels Television business news producer, covering that for us. Now let's wrap it up with the United States, where the Federal Reserve Chairman Janet Yellen says tightening financial conditions driven by falling stock prices, uncertainty over China, and a global reassessment of credit risk could throw the U.S. economy off track from an otherwise solid direction. In the remarks that combined a steady as she goes account of Fed policy within an acknowledgement of intensifying risks, Janet Yellen says there are good reasons to believe the United States will stay on a path of moderate growth that will allow the Fed to pursue gradual adjustments to monetary policy.
These developments, if they prove persistent, could weigh on the outlook for economic activity in the labor market. Although declines in longer-term interest rates and oil prices provide some offset. Still, ongoing employment gains and faster wage growth should support the growth of real incomes and therefore consumer spending.
With those words from few words, she spoke for hours on the Capitol yesterday. We end up today's edition of Business Incorporated. I am Bosin Namofaya. I'll see you again. Do have a great day, and bye for now.